Let's see. Da, 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 da. Oh, hello, we have new people arriving. Fantastic. Mm. We should be having James Griffin on. Okay, let's bring up a map of Ukraine and live UA map. Ooh, actually both live UA map and live UA and what's it called? I'm forgetting. Um, Deep State. Yeah, Deep State. Let's go. Da, 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 da. Okay. Yep. No, we don't want this screen. The fuck? Uh, yeah, this is the screen we want. There we go. Look at that. Oh, it's depressing, isn't it? What do we have here? Reveal yourselves. Yeah, Return of the King indeed. We're gonna have a nice fun stream, eh? And now that I have two screens, I'll be able to watch intently. Ooh, we already have more viewers showing up. So, what are we gonna talk about today? Sorry, I'm a little tired because I went to the gym today. Big mistake. Shouldn't go to the gym. I should just stop working out, guys. But no. Solitude calls. So, alright, enough cringe. I'll be talking about basically the ground operation in the Gaza Strip and a little bit about how just how fucking dumb it is, and the fact that it's basically like a genocidal situation there. Um, the amount of people left without water, electricity, and fuel, the children that are gonna die in the hospitals because of that, um, the bombing of uh, what was it called? The refugee camp. Just Jesus Christ. Like the Israeli airstrikes are just not just airstrikes. Their artillery is also firing. Okay, whatever. Okay, goodbye, Mr. Just bots. First message on my return, and I get a bot. That's it. That's what I get. Fantastic. Anyway, hopefully clicking around in this won't give us a bunch of horrible a bunch of horrible pictures, because that's gonna be a little rough for Twitch, I think. All right, and and the other thing we're gonna be talking about, of course, is the amazing, not amazing, well, the conditions in Ukraine. We're gonna be talking about the situation with Avdivka, and we're gonna be talking about Ukraine in general. Now that the counteroffensive is basically over, um, and the failure of this counteroffensive and what this means in broader terms, why it can be a problem, what can be done about it, which is not much. Um, yeah, this is what we'll be talking about, everybody, and hopefully we will be having James Griffin on, uh, good friend of the channel. Um, he's gonna talk to us, and we're gonna riff with him a bit with this whole situation. Gonna be a nice back and forth, hopefully. So I'm waiting on him now. He should give us a call when he's ready to go. Alright, so who's here? What's happening? Talk to me, people. Talk to me. Let me know what's popping. Hello, hello. A lot more footage out of lot more footage out from Gaza to look through. Yeah, there is a lot of Gaza footage, which is, I mean, good in a sense. It's good that like it's not just radio silence. That it's not just Israel inside just having a jolly old time without any of us witnessing it. There's still video and pictures coming out to some extent. However, it is really hard to communicate. Internet completely cut off in areas of the central Gaza Strip. Yeah, yeah. They are cutting the internet as much as possible because they don't wanna. Hey, you didn't miss too much. Don't worry. I was just doing an introduction, Excel. I'm just talking a little bit about what's gonna be what we're gonna be discussing today, and a bit about Gaza and maybe Avdiivka and Ukraine more broadly. Um, it's been a while since I've streamed. Uh, is Avdiivka going to be lost? Well, I don't know. I don't know. It's a real possibility, unfortunately. It's just that um, the Russians have done a lot of like really weird, costly, and pointless attacks in the past. Um, the difference here is that it's not like Bakhmut. There really is no give with Avdivka, because with Bakhmut, right? Let's paint a little bit here. With Bakhmut, the Russians were somewhere along this line, right? And they pushed over from Soledar, they pushed into Pithorodne, they were pushing around all these areas towards Bakhmut, and they tried to go around from the south as well. So eventually they ended up breaking through the south, breaking through the north, and forcing a Ukrainian withdrawal after like protracted fighting and a lot of battles, both in Soledar, both a lot in Pithorodne and Krasnahora. No, Krasnahora, not really. That was already done by then. But like in Bakhmutske over here, Opitne, a lot of battle. All of here, like in the south, Kudrimovka, like there was a lot of fighting around. If you look at Avdivka, when this offensive started, the Russians have already done all the preliminary. They were already at the sides of Avdivka. So where they started out was just at the edge of Krasnohorivka, right along here. This is where they were. So this is roughly what the situation looked like. So basically, they have they've had devastating casualties trying to take this area. However, here is a waste heap that provides them with more avenues of fire along the plant and everything else that's around in Avdivka. So taking this area, even though like tons of casualties and for very little space, there's really very little space to give with just how Avdivka is looking, right? If they, for example, manage to use the waste heap to cross into the Avdivka coke plant, which is here, so they manage, for example, to take all this area here, Avdivka is toast. And that's nothing. That's maybe what, 500 meters? 1,000 meters? When you say the waste heap, is it the essentially giant mound? Yes. It is like a 200, I think 200-meter tall tericon, I think it's just ash from the coke plant in Avdivka. I think there is a view that has color. Wait, where is it? Fires, pathogen, simulation of the use of nuclear weapons. This is insane. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Terrain type. Satellite. Oh, much better, huh? Seems like the southern pisser hasn't been moving at all. Focus is on the plant. They have been moving a little bit. They are trying to probe, but the problem here is that it is actually quite open. Recently, what they did take was this over here, which is a mine. However, probing over here is difficult because of the open fields. There's just a lot of mines and a lot of open fields of fire that just don't really allow you to easily push. While in the north, they had a disadvantage starting from Krasnohorivka. They rushed across the line and they got absolutely destroyed here in Stepova. Like all the attacks here got mauled by the Ukrainians. And here from working from Tonenke and Severne. Okay, yeah. Here they also smashed Russian attacks when they approached. However, they were pushed out of the Terikon, which is this waste heap here. So basically, the Ukrainian defense rests along the side of the Avdivka coke plant. Of course, in the forest, there's probably a defensive force here. Along the south, along the water and forest here, and probably in these tree lines, there is Ukrainian soldiers. So this is kind of like what the defense of Avdivka looks like. And then there is certain supply roads, like here. That's one major paved supply road. Here is another one, another paved supply road. And I think there's a bunch of other unpaved roads, probably here, I think along here, something like this, right? So I think there's also some roads from here going in. So this is what the supply situation looks like, right? Ukraine's gotta supply this garrison somehow. Can't be through magic, right? All those soldiers staying in there and defending this arguably really strong fortress. They can't stay in there if the Russians are able to cover this. What distance is this? Maybe 500 meters? 1 kilometer? If they're able to break into the plant, which wouldn't require them to cover a lot of open space, if they're able to break into here, then it would be much harder to use these roads because the Russians are going to be able to look at them. I think that this is their primary objective. Well, maybe these last roads wouldn't be cut, but I think that this is their primary objective. They will go for the coke plant. Is it all to push the Ukrainians away from Donetsk? I don't think I don't know if they care that much. but it would push them away from Donetsk, yeah. And it would take Avdiivka, which has been like a fortress that Ukraine has held since 2014, 15, right at the right at the heart of Donbass and right in front of Donetsk. It's the same reason why the Russians were celebrating when they were finally able to capture all of the airport in Donetsk. Like fucking half of it was in Ukrainian hands. Same with Pisky. Like all these tiny towns have been areas of battle for a long time. And Ukraine just doesn't like losing those. Avdiivka doesn't have a ton of strategic importance. However, it would flatten out the line and give the Russians like a stepping stone to move further. Though I don't know how much that would happen in the short term. The 110th Brigade parts of the 72nd and 59th. How many Ukrainians are at risk of getting kettled? I don't think they will get kettled. I think that these days brigades are way too fast. Their trucks are too fast. The only way they would suffer a lot of losses, and I don't think even encircled, is if they lose the coke plant and they start insisting on staying in Avdiivka. Maybe the Russians are able to pull further moves to the south from the coke plant. If this is happening, then yeah, they would have to live in a rush and probably lose a bunch of equipment and men. Would it affect Western support for Ukraine to lose Avdiivka? I don't know, maybe, but honestly, it's all about what propaganda makes of it. It would be a defeat, which wouldn't be good, especially because expectations on Ukraine nowadays are just be on the offensive. You know, it used to be enough that Ukraine was stopping Russia, but now Ukraine is expected to be like on the attack and pushing back Putin. And I think that a lot of the Western countries are, I guess, impatient. They don't want to restart, well, in earnest, their military industries. So it is a pickle. Unfortunately, this is the problem with Avdivka. And now the Russians are preparing for this. But if we're talking broadly about the war in Ukraine, I don't know. I don't know about that. Honestly, I think that if it's gonna be a war of attrition, um, the Westerners are gonna have to really step up the game with supplies of ammunition, artillery, barrels, tanks, everything, and then also improve Ukraine's capabilities so that the casualty rate isn't like close. Because if Russia also ramps up militarily enough to cover their losses, then it would be a matter of manpower in a war of attrition, and Russia will just have a manpower advantage no matter what, really. Saw footage of some Ukrainians on the H20 route. I think you're talking about probably wasn't there an attack on over here? Is the Ukrainians basically counterattacking and trying to expose the flanks Russia? See, with this, I saw somebody saying, I think Austin Technical was saying that, ooh, imagine doing this attack, like in Avdivka and not having your flanks covered. I mean, I don't know. How was he able to tell that the flanks aren't covered? To me, what it looks like, right, let me zoom. Sorry about this. It was very pretty to look at. But to me, it looks like the Russians did attempt to cover their flanks. This is the road we're talking about, and the Russians have used this road as a barrier for their flanks. So their flanks aren't completely senseless, from at least what I can see in the map. So their flanks, for example, don't look like this with Ukrainian soldiers, for example, sitting here in Novobakhmut Bakhmutivka being, or in the forest, right? Being able to just shit on everything in Krasnohorivka. Like, this is not what the flank looks like. So we don't know exactly if, from what I can see, like the Russians are holding here positions that aren't bad. Like they're on tree lines, they cover the approaches on the roads, and they cover Novobakhmutivka. So maybe the Ukrainians are able to penetrate and like go down here, but it wouldn't be from because of a lack of Russians in their Russian like attention to their flank. It would be because the Ukrainians were able to break through. Video ended with an artillery strike on the Ukrainians, so it's not just letting them in. Yeah, yeah. I think if this was a big attack, probably we would be buzzing a little bit more. But the Ukrainians don't haven't really concentrated everything on here yet. I don't think they've concentrated enough forces to counterattack. But personally, I am in favor of a counterattack to north of Krasnohorivka. So it would be probably like incur losses, but if they are able to use their muscle to break into here and maybe, I don't know, hopefully like provide some fire towards Vesele, they could end up like trapping the Russians. And that would be nice, wouldn't it? If they are able to gather enough speed to do this, maybe even take Novobakhmutivka for good measure, to not have their flanks exposed. That'd be nice, right? But I don't know what capability the Ukrainians have here yet, like, honestly. We need military land. Give me a second. Military land net. Maps. Deployment map. Alright, let's give it a look. Do they have... Why can't I zoom in anymore? It doesn't matter. But what is here? This is mechanized battalion, 110th mechanized brigade. So it would be up to them. But I don't see a ton of forces here. Separate Presidential Brigade. I think those were the guys that attacked, right? But the Presidential Brigade is a motorized brigade. Don't like that. But nowadays names don't matter that much. It matters like even territorial defense can have good equipment. Second Mechanized Battalion. There's a few battalions in there. 53rd Mechanized. 31st Mechanized. Yeah, I don't know if this is enough. It seems to me that the Ukrainians are still slightly overcommitted in the south, in the kind of fail, and in Bakhmut. Fucking Bakhmut. Why? What's the point? Fucking give it a rest. Oh my god, look at this. Fortifications around Kramatorsk and Sloviansk. These are true fortresses. Fortress towns, not fucking Bakhmut. Yeah. Barvinkova. Hmm. I had mapped Barvinkova back in the day. What do we say? What's the best explanation for Bakhmut? I mean, Ukraine's commitment to it. Russians boost Krasnodar, so more troops were sent there. Yeah, but I don't really think that like they'll get anywhere. Really, like realistically speaking, the Russians aren't that strong here. I think they're more like looking for Kupiansk. You see? Hopefully they're able to keep it together in Avdiivka. I think that Ukraine's commitment is really partly a little obsessive, maybe having to do with how important the defense of Bakhmut was and how big it would be to take it back for for reasons of like propaganda. Would be great to have it back. The Russians are missing artillery support around Donetsk, which is really telling considering it's one of the few areas where they had years to prep for the war. Yeah, but the reason why they're missing artillery support around Donetsk is because they have these strong fortifications here, and they, when they needed more artillery up north, they kind of stripped these brigades to support, I think, if I remember correctly, their offensives on Lysychansk and Severodonetsk. Um, they had plenty of artillery there before the war. Where do you think the Ukrainians should be committing more forces apart from Donbass? Uh, I'm not against more forces in Donbass. Personally, I think that some of the only attacks that really make sense for Ukraine right now would be flattening out the pincers around Avdiivka. Like, properly here, going on an offensive on a tighter front, trying to flatten this out, and then maybe push the Russians closer to their original line. So that would basically relieve pressure from Avdiivka. No need to push much more. And kind of a similar thing here, even taking Opitne and resting along this road. Piski's too out of reach in my view. But if the Ukrainians were able to push the line there. Oh, Discord. Apologies.
Discord.
Hello, hello. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Oh, I think I can hear double. I can hear you from.
Hello.
I can hear double. I can hear myself from your mic. Yeah.
Is that better?
Um. Well, let's. Yeah, yeah. I think it is. There we go. I've busted out the colors. There we go. Where should I put you? I'll put you up here. Oh, there we go.
Oh, you can pop that out, by the way.
Hmm?
If you scroll to the video, I think you can pop it out and then just hide the rest.
Oh, right. You know,
Yeah, the bottom right.
Oh, there it is. Pop it out. Oh, oh my. Fantastic. Hopefully, if I put you over here to the side. Uh, yeah, I think this is mostly fine. Yeah, this is nice. This is good. Yeah, I bust out the crayons, man, already. I'm painting arrows and shit. So,
Okay.
introduce yourself to the audience. Let them know who you are. Oh, oh, why are you quiet? What's happening? Why can't I hear you? What the hell?
Trying to control the feedback on my end. Sorry about that.
I see. There we go. Right, let them know. Let them have it.
Wait. Uh, wait. Shit. I should be able to hear you. I'm not sure why I had. It was double playing. Okay.
Do you
Not sure
have
why.
headphones?
Okay. Yeah. Now I hear you. Okay.
Okay, good.
So I am the Thucydides trap lord. Usually, I got a little bit banned for some environmental activism on Twitter. I resurrected as the professional air quotes account, Analytica Camelus. otherwise abbreviated to anal cam. If you want to throw off your spouses in your donating, right?
Great.
That's what your bank statement will say.
Oh, that's fantastic,
Uh,
James. Like, Jesus, you're trying to get yourself in trouble with get the people who follow you and donate money to you. Get them to
always.
yes, of course. No, I think this is a noble cause. They should know that even though we don't even though we pretend to be serious, we're all degenerates, to some extent.
Mhm.
Right, let me give your Twitter away to these people. Yeah. Right, fantastic. So, what we have it's in the chat, everybody. So, what we have in store for today is I was thinking that I was talking to the people here about Avdivka because someone asked me. I couldn't help myself.
Mhm.
I'll share some of my thoughts about that. Um,
Ooh, actually, I shared in the Discord chat. There's another map that might be a bit more helpful because it shows Ukrainian positions as well from the OSINT
the deployment map,
tours.
the
Sort
military land
of
one.
a Ukraine control map.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Give me a second. Let me.
so the Russians have a lot of pressure on Avdiivka, but their northern flank there is looking a little naked.
Yeah, see, I saw discussion about the northern flank. Yeah, let me bring up this map. See what's up. Is it looking naked of troops? Because
Um,
I saw Osint, who was it? Osint Technical, right? He was saying, "Oh
yep,
yeah, there's an attack by the presidential brigade or something. Some Ukrainian troops were making raids on this northern flank of the Russians." Um,
yep.
however, I saw that it was, oh, the Russians haven't covered their flank, and I'm like, really? I mean, they seem to have rested along this like road, what is it, whatever it is.
Mhm.
So they did try at least to use terrain features to cover their flank.
Anchored.
Um,
They,
so I think that
they
they,
might have
they
been a
aren't
bit.
going completely naked. They seem to
Uh,
have made some effort. What's going on with your lighting?
I think it might be Discord.
Is it 'cause, like
Uh,
your camera is having a stroke, man?
ooh, maybe if I go to but okay, I don't have OBS on. Let me go to settings really quickly. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. It's just it's auto adjusting the brightness all the time.
Yeah, it's very confused. Uh, uh, and
I'm personally a big advocate of forgetting about Bakhmut for a second and actually going on the attack to flatten out the Avdivka salient. Like, if you're
mm,
gonna do
that
like
was,
Bakhmut's so pointless. I don't care. You know, like look at the amount of shit they have in
yeah,
Bakhmut right now.
it's
It's
just a
cartoonish.
prestige price at this point.
Yeah, it's I think it's like pointless. Even if you get it back, it's like, okay, great, you got a week of positive news coverage out of it. No strategic objectives and maybe probably like 10,000 casualties. Fantastic. Great
More,
investment.
probably more.
Yeah.
Uh,
Jesus.
it's uh, it's like fighting over Stalingrad, but like not like fresh Stalingrad, but like leveled Stalingrad.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
It really doesn't make sense to me. And honestly, I think that they could use a bunch of these brigades, like basically
Oh,
turning the northern flank of Avdivka into Swiss cheese. But instead, what's happening really is that the Russians are now preparing. I mean, in my opinion, pretty transparently, to push across, not across the rail line north for Berdyatsi or Stepova, I think they figured out that this is pointless and it's way too open across the rail line. The Ukrainians are too prepared. I think they're just gonna push straight for the coke plant. They have enough cover
Yeah, that
to
makes more.
advance to it, and if they take the coke plant, then they've basically achieved the same goal, just with a very much narrower encirclement, quote unquote. It's not really an encirclement. It's just that all the
Mhm.
roads that lead into Avdivka would be much more exposed without the coke plant in Ukrainian hands. And then I think that Avdivka would be untenable without the coke plant. And then they'd have to. It's also very hard to attack it from the other side. So like if they lost it, it's easier from the Russian side to attack it, but it's harder for the Ukrainian from the Ukrainian side to both resupply and counterattack it, just because of how open it is from the other side. While the Russians just like have a bunch of tree lines, they have the fucking waste heap. They have a bunch of shit that they can use to feed an attack into the coke plant. But they're preparing,
Mhm.
and maybe I don't know. Maybe the Ukrainians are able to pull I don't know, a bunny out of the hat, and are able to really disrupt the northern attack with a northern attack of their own. However, I saw the buzz is kind of dead already about this. It seemed like there was a bit of a mostly like a probing a move, you know. I don't know if they're
Yeah,
genuinely committed to advancing there yet. I think there would be a lot more buzz, considering especially how Ukrainian Twitter accounts are. Like we'd have heard about it. I think.
they can't keep a secret.
Yeah, we'd have heard about it. Every like even the people who really blow things out of proportion haven't been really talking about it.
Mhm. It's it's kind of yeah. You guys all know Tataragami on YouTube?
Oh yeah,
Or, nah, fuck, Twitter,
fantastic
not
Twitter.
YouTube.
Yeah,
The
Tataragami UA.
Ukrainian staff.
Yeah, this guy's fantastic.
Uh,
He beams my thoughts into the cosmos straight up.
yes, 100%. Because he's a Ukrainian army staff officer, right? For so anybody who doesn't know him, and I don't know what his background is, but I can just firmly tell you that he doesn't have the Soviet legacy preconceptions sort of ingrained in his mind, right? He has a mixture of knowledge on, I guess, the Western way of war, which is a non-existent stereotype, I guess, and the Soviet way of war, Soviet Russian Ukrainian legacy way of war, right? And just for the overall campaign, he's just kind of exhausted mentally because the Ukrainian general staff is just not thinking with its head on straight, and that was kind of obvious months ago when they launched that attack on north of Tokmak or around Tokmak.
Yeah,
Uh,
that attack wasn't very nice. Uh, the grind fest that was going on around Tokmak. I think we're saying that it resembled like a Soviet attack. I guess because we are considering ideas like breaking the enemy at their strongest like point and basically rupturing fronts that way. They had some ideas like that in Soviet doctrine. Um, but of course, the Soviets also had a doctrine of using artillery, like a fucking million shells a day type deal. Uh, when you see the amount of artillery and rocket artillery expenditure, like estimates for the Soviets, it's like you under, only the Soviets could fight like the Soviets, right? Only the Soviet army could do the things that the Soviet army was writing manuals for, and it's
yes,
very clear when you consider that nobody, neither the Russians nor the Ukrainians, nobody has the kind of resources that the Soviets did, just because of how cartoonish like the Soviet procurement was for their like you see like everyone and their mother had a cannon. Like it's not like this anymore. So you can't fight like the Soviets do. You have to be smarter. You can't just bash your way through everything because you don't have, I don't know, millions of men behind you. You don't. You don't have millions of artillery pieces and like and rocket artillery. And Russia had the biggest artillery park in the world, and they still don't have not even close to the amount that maybe like one or two Soviet fronts would have.
Mhm. Uh,
Yeah. So yeah, the I
on,
think that the attack in towards Tokmak was I wasn't I wasn't as like um happy about it. I was saying I was more of a wait and see. That was my position when it was starting. I was like, okay, let's see. Maybe like my hope was that, oh, the Russians are like genuinely unprepared in terms of like the infantry they've put there is just not very good. I was hoping that, hey, maybe like Surovikin like prepared the line, and if Surovikin was in charge, I'd be probably more pessimistic at the start of this, because I'd be like, okay, Surovikin has probably like made like done what he needs to, and I thought that maybe they'd be more arrogant about it, especially with Surovikin removed. But it seems like they decided to like fight and die where they stand, not give an inch as much as possible. And I don't know. I mean, probably they've lost a lot of material in this direction, but not enough to like so that they broke. And the
yeah,
Ukrainians obviously lost a bunch too.
equipment that the Ukrainians couldn't really afford to lose for this offensive, right?
No, that's a problem. I really think that like the Westerners are kind of dragging their feet. It's like, do we have to mobilize, guys? Do we have to? Do we have to
Yeah.
build new barrels for artillery cannons? Do we have to buy more 155 from somewhere? I guess I don't know. Will South Korea give more? The Americans are dipping into the fucking stockpiles of cluster cluster artillery shells. It's like, okay, guys, it's time. We need to start to get going actually with procurement. The Bulgarians are making bank though. Bulgarians are absolutely having the time of their lives right now with artillery production.
Mhm.
Probably
Uh,
the eastern partners are keeping the Ukrainian artillery alive and well, the Soviet artillery that the Ukrainians still have.
yeah. Bulgaria, Romania,
Yeah.
and definitely Bulgaria.
Yeah, and also I'm hoping that we're gonna talk about the shit show in Gaza. Um,
Oh, wow, that's worse.
yeah, I mean, cause I think the broader situation in Ukraine could be summarized, in my opinion, as the Westerners need to produce and give more shit, because if we're gonna fight a battle of attrition, two things matter the most: Ukrainians being able to use like shit and not run out of things, like artillery shells, anti-air, fucking guns, anything that's really important, or heavy vehicles. They must not run out, and then like their capability needs to increase so that they can like give more disproportionate casualties upon the Russians, because we shouldn't like fighting this casualty for casualty is just not a great long-term plan, and especially like to those saying, oh, don't worry, like if Russia incurs enough casualties it will collapse. I mean, I don't know,
It's
like,
Russia, man.
yeah, like, let's be real. Like, look, people like saying, "Oh, what about like 1917? Like, what about like?" Yeah, but there were bread riots in way before Russia collapsed. There were bread riots in Petrograd, and Russia was still fighting the fucking war. They incurred 5 million casualties, and then they fought a
This
civil war with 10 more million casualties. Like, and that's when the world
throw it up.
population was a billion, right? Like, come on, Jesus.
Oh,
Ukraine can't
Jesus Christ.
afford the casualties Russia can, and it's very straightforward why. However, Ukraine has done a decent job, like not incurring the same amount of casualties. And if
Mhm.
they're gonna go on offensives, they need to have the ability to like genuinely like do movement properly, because
Yeah.
otherwise what? Like, we don't want to be fighting a war of attrition against like Russian fortifications. We want them attacking, and dying, like
Mhm.
basically.
Uh, uh, you could. How's the best way to put it? The only way that the Ukraine wins this war is through maneuver. I guess the past year and a half has made that painfully clear. Uh, that means breaking through Russia's defensive lines at some point, cutting off their supply lines, and eventually rolling up Russian formations until they surrender en masse from lack of material. Uh, and I, I just don't think the Soviet way of doing it is going to work at all, right?
Yeah, but I think that in my opinion, like the window for this to happen is closing just with how much fortifications the Russians are like pouring into the front. And like if it has to be a battle of attrition, like you better be in it to win it. Like we can't half-ass a battle of attrition. We have to full ass it, you know? Like and Horesme is saying in the chat that back in the day the commitment was apocalyptic with World War One. Yeah, that's true. Um, However, you'll never guess just how dumb it can get. Like with Russia doubling, tripling, quadrupling down, like starting mobilizations and shit. I think that like their stability will afford them to do way more things than they're doing now. Their money and like the generally good conditions that the Russians live in now as compared to even fucking 1990s, like it's different. I don't know, like it's
Mhm.
hard to ever gauge morale or when societies break down, but fucking Iran Iraq was very apocalyptic and neither society broke down and it was 8 years long, massive casualties, just okay, like we're vibing. And with I think that like I don't know, like I can't really hope for that to happen. I'm not hoping that Russia just collapses. I don't want to be counting on that. I want to be counting on some more positive vision, a more positive vision of how we can win the war.
Oh yeah, to answer Exol is a very good question. Probably about 1% of Russia's population has been mobilized during the totality of this war.
Yeah, something like that, right? Maybe like 1.4 million could be close to what the Russians have
Yeah,
in all
one point.
branches of everything.
Yep, and that's including casualties and replacement.
Yeah,
I guess if you're including casualties, it's maybe closer to 1.3 or 1.5. You're welcome, Exol.
yeah.
Uh, it's I think we're sort of in the West. We need to sort of get over that perception of Russia as just being a gas station. Uh, we conflate Western economies not wanting to buy most of Russia's hackneyed shit with Russia not having an industrial capacity, right?
Mm.
Which really isn't true.
Yeah, I mean,
Russia is a relatively.
I'm tired of
Oop,
people saying
here.
like, "Hey, look at GDP, look at GDP." I'm like, I don't care. What I care about is what do they have? What factories do they have? Like, what can they build? What resources do they have?
Exactly.
Who cares? You can have the biggest GDP in the planet. Can you imagine not having oil? How the fuck are you gonna fight a war? You're gonna be like you're gonna be hoping on external like forces to do that. But Russia has oil, it has resources, it has factories, it has manpower, it has the raw materials that are needed to fight a war. Then that other countries that maybe have a better record of fighting wars don't necessarily have. It's not like that.
Mhm.
It's not that oh, bigger economy equals better at war. It's just not how it works, especially with modern economies.
Exactly. It's very. I don't know. Yeah, I guess arrogance the best way of putting it, right?
Yeah.
Uh, we 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 operate under the presumption that because Russia is not rich like us, it is poor, which isn't really true.
Yeah, there's poor and there's real poor, and real poor, and then like you realize also that, well, for war, like wars are real expensive, but that in the moment may not matter. Um, like like personally, I think this can be summarized and like dumbed down to that, like if Russia is genuinely like doubling and tripling down and not giving up, and even, I don't know, mobilizing their industry even further, it is a genuine problem for a war of attrition, and it would be better if Ukraine was given the means to win this like kinetically, not like grind it out casualty for casualty, tank for tank. Like that's not gonna be. That's, even if it is possible that, Russia, like Putin, just like doesn't like postpones it too long with further industrial mobilization, doesn't procure enough weapons, whatever. Even if like that's not a sure way to win, you know what I mean. It's a much more certain way to win than to not engage in any kind of attritional war, is being able to commit to movement. And really it is hard because the angles of approach to movement are just like becoming scarce, more and more scarce. Whether it be Kherson, it just doesn't look that great, in my opinion. That fucking river is too big of a problem. Svatove has a defensive line behind it. Who knows? Like it just it feels like there are limitations that are, and especially like the limitation of equipment that's pushing Ukraine towards a war of attrition that it is not certain to win.
Mhm. But we should also caution that that doesn't mean Ukraine can't win, right?
Yeah, of course.
They just
That's what I mean. It's just not a sure thing. It's like we're gambling if we're going into a war of attrition. We're gambling with Russia's like commitment to this. We're gambling with Putin's capabilities of like mobilizing his economy further. We're gambling with Western support, how much they're willing to give. We're gambling with Ukrainian manpower. That's the stuff we're gambling with. Uh, we still could win it, but of course you never fucking know. It's just how it is, I guess.
no, we probably need to like restart an advocacy campaign and like create a wow. I guess I'm leaning back into last year. We need to make a shopping list, a public shopping list that everyone can see and say, "Hey, Ukraine needs this. If they don't get this, they can't win." And then we should shout it and drill it through everybody's heads, because otherwise we're just gonna zone out. I mean, like, oh, how quickly did we already zone out about the Israel Gaza war? It literally just started like last week
I don't
or
know.
two
I
weeks
don't
ago.
know. I think the Israel Gaza stuff is gonna be real bad soon, and it may even distract more from like Ukraine and what it needs. I think that like Ukrainian messaging should sort of move from "Hurrah, hurrah! We're about to take the south. We're about to take Bakhmut back. We're about to like this. Oh, we're on the front foot. Oh, we're on from the offensive." To turning around to the Westerners like, okay, do you want us to win or not? Like, do you want us to win or do you want us to lose? What do you want us to do? And we can't win if you don't give us an actually significant amount of equipment. Give us fucking 500 Abrams. I don't know. Do something.
Uh, oh, apropos of nothing.
Yeah.
Going to be updating the shopping list, the Ukraine shopping list soon. If you want to contribute, anybody else who wants to contribute and get eyes and to see what, actually, I put into the chat a simulation that'll be helpful for like seeing what things do, or what equipment does. Anybody wants to help see what we should be giving to Ukraine. This is Combat Mission Black Sea.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a paid sponsorship, but it's the most realistic combat simulation or tactical simulation available anywhere. It's in use by the Defense Department as well as the Ministry of Defense. in the UK and a bunch of other European ministries of defense. Uh, actually, they use a slightly fancier version, but it's basically the same program.
Mm. You know,
Uh,
I'll go this this Christmas. I'll go observe a war game and participate in one in Athens in Greece. I'll go to
with the Hellenic War College.
it's in the Σχολεία Ευελπίδων. It's the Air Force Academy. I think that
Nice.
they're gonna be. I'm not 100% sure exactly what I'll be doing, but one professor there wants me to do a PhD with her, and she's gotten a couple of other people riled up with it. Man, I don't know. Maybe it'll be a lot of fun because like she
It's going to
she
be a lot of fun.
she's working in wargaming design, which I haven't
It's,
seen that much of that, but ooh, that would be a really fun
it,
thing to do. I don't know.
it is actually so a very much related note. George, there's this uh, former Marine who set up a wargaming club thing, right? And it's sort of all of the rage among DoD's brainiacs.
Ooh.
And he's a war game designer. I'll put a link in the chat. He set up a university level, I guess, wargaming club where he interviews various professionals in, I guess, various countries' wargaming communities. Because it's not just one. Okay, the U.S. probably has the largest one, and to be honest, it's not actually that big. Actually, I take that back. China probably is the largest one,
Mm.
but you, unless you can speak Chinese, you're probably not going to have an easy enough time accessing it.
Yeah, and they're
Uh,
running like
but
one simulation over and over. Yeah.
actually, the Chinese are quite sophisticated when it comes to wargaming, right? It's surprisingly so. I don't want to say surprisingly so because that feels
Patronizing.
diminutive,
Yeah.
patronizing. It's just unexpected given the nature of the communist system, right? Because it doesn't exactly cultivate individualistic thinking, right?
No,
Uh,
but at the same time, China is like a. I don't know. I don't like to talk to the essential nature of societies or shit like that. But the Chinese have proven themselves way more technocratic. Like when it comes to like anything they do, whether it be like high speed rail, like organization of society, like provision, every like it's just like sure it's massive, but like I don't know, maybe individualistic thinking is super important on a tactical scale. I think that to me that in the tactical and the operational scale it's super important, like maybe like what a commander might do in the moment, like what an unexpected event may force adaptation. That's the kind of stuff that individualism is good for. But when we're talking about like industrial scale war, like when we're talking about mobilization, when we're talking about grand plans, it's rarely like the individuals, like in my opinion it's rarely the individual that's like super important in those situations. It's how is the state organized enough, prepared enough, and like I don't know, is it ready to support the individuals when they show up, because you can be the best fucking individual commander ever, you can be anybody, and then if your state can provide you with the means, you'll never be good. And it won't even be your fault. It's like this is kind of my view, and yeah, I do agree that it's typically good for militaries to promote like individual I don't know, how do you call it, initiative and
initiative. Yeah.
initiative, yeah. But I'm also because like most of the wars I've studied, it has been usually in the operational and strategic level. I'm kind of a noob when it comes to tactics. I'm not the best. It's so often like it's like, okay, have the most talented commander in the world. Okay, whatever. I don't care. He can do some things, but he can't do everything. He can't solve fundamental problems about how your war is going. Yeah, I don't know. Do you want to talk about Gaza a little bit? Because we've got them
Yeah.
all primed here and waiting. My God,
Uh, Gaza is. Are we allowed to swear on Twitch?
I
I
think
think we
you
are.
are. Yeah, you are allowed to swear.
Okay. It is a fucking mess,
Yeah.
and that's putting it bluntly. Just across the board, basically everyone around the world, except for like Hamas, is overestimating the IDF's ability to actually quell this not even not uprising uh, or insurgency. What do we call Hamas? Right? It's a war, but it's not really a war, right?
It's. I mean, it's not an interstate war because
A
Palestine is.
policing action.
It's not a. It's a little more heavy-handed than a policing action because fucking you. I mean, I don't know. American police is pretty fucked up, dude. But I don't think you flatten neighborhoods very
It's
often.
not that bad.
Like you did
It's
that like
very,
once
very
or twice
dangerous.
back in the '90s, if I remember correctly. But like, Jesus, I would call it probably like it's not exactly an insurgency because it's not in Israel. It's not like they're not fighting all around inside Israel. Um, I
Mhm.
guess it's kind of like I don't know. It's a war. I would call it a war, just not an interstate war. It's like some kind of like war against an armed group, I guess.
Um, you,
But I don't know, but that's like a
I'll,
technicality. I don't really care. You may
yeah,
as well call it
you're right.
an
We'll just call it
interstate
war.
war, like Israel versus the Gaza Strip. Like but
Mhm.
then I hate to tie like
The
Palestinians
average one.
to Hamas because Palestinians are basically like helpless victims in here. Like they can't really oppose Hamas. They can't they can't sway any opinion in Israel because Israel seems to be like it's like when this happens like okay, time to kill everybody, time to kill
Yeah,
like it's like leave or die was Israel's response, and it's getting worse and worse. It's like, ooh, nice refugee camp you got there. It'd be a shame if we thought there's a Hamas tunnel under it. Fucking Schrodinger's
God.
Hamas tunnels. Like somehow, like, oh, between those children there was Hamas operatives. Like, come on, enough. Like, there's up to a point. There's yeah, like
We have eyes.
yeah, we have eyes, we have brains. Like, in even I think the U.S. isn't too happy about this. Like the U.S. is like,
No.
okay, you know what? Like, sure, we can sell the there was a Hamas like terrorist cell somewhere in here, this surgical strike, but I think that the accuracy that Israel is operating under right now is like they're trying to do surgery with a butcher knife. Like it's not, they're not doing surgery anymore. They're just butchering. That's it.
Exactly.
And even and the it seems the Egyptians are like, nope, we're not letting anybody out. It's not gonna be the easy ethnic cleansing you're hoping for. You're not gonna be able to like scare everyone out of the Gaza Strip. They're staying in there, and you either gonna fail or they're gonna die. Which is just, I think that like if anything completely gets the Americans off the Israel train, it's the amount of pictures and videos that are gonna come out of like cartoonish like violence and just like massacres that are just hard to believe, and it's part of why I think they've cut the internet. But I don't think that's gonna fucking. We have pictures of like Bobby Yar and shit. We have pictures from like World War II, and there was no fucking internet. Pictures are gonna get out of Gaza. There's no way they won't. So
Mhm.
I think it's just a matter of time. The internet's like a very temporary fix to the really terrible publicity they're gonna get out of this
No, they're
situation.
already accruing.
Yeah, it's already really bad. I don't think like this isn't particularly popular in Israel either. Like um, Israeli citizens, I mean, some of them are outraged because like their government keeps reminding them about the terror attack. But a bunch of them are like, okay, do our kids have to die now? Do we have to kill all the Palestinians? Like, what's going on here? And of course, it's already having a lot of casualties. Didn't the IDF like admit to like 300 dead already? Something like that.
Yeah, I think it was like
That's
370.
ridiculous. Can you
Uh,
370 in like what 2 days?
3 weeks
Three
overall. I think they're including the 300 IDF personnel who were killed in the initial attacks. So I
300
think they're
were
suffering
killed in
about
the
10
initial
PIA
attacks.
per day.
Were
Oh
300
yeah,
killed in
yeah,
the initial attack? Holy shit! I didn't think it was that many IDF guys that were killed in the initial push. Jeez.
yeah. The substantial casualties on the first day, because actually you can see if you switch to the satellite map.
Subtle. Oh yeah. Nice. Oh God. Do
Uh,
I do I have to? Yeah, I'm sorry.
oh,
No,
well, that's
no
fucking dumb.
satellite map.
Fuck it. Fuck
I
that.
have.
I used to subscribe to Live Map. Totally not worth it at all.
Yeah,
Because
man. I have Google Maps.
they
It's
have
okay.
Live Map has separate subscriptions for your phone and your computer. What
Oof.
the fuck?
Yeah, how the hell are you gonna be checking live map when you're out on a date for coffee with some friends? How are you gonna do that with separate subscription? You can't quite do that. Oh my god. Yeah, but
Ooh,
like everyone is fucking horrified. Like they haven't even gotten into Gaza City yet. They're nibbling at the edges. They've cut off like I think they've cut off the Gaza City
oh yeah,
from the south. But even that, it's not like a real cutoff because the tunnels still exist. So
tunnel.
Hamas can
Yeah,
still move back and forth. I also saw that video uh, of like these civilians driving towards Gaza and they get blasted by an
yeah.
IDF tank, fucking Merkava, and people were like, I don't know, man. They may have been a vehicle borne IED. I'm
No,
like, really? Come on.
what IEDs don't turn. Guys
Yes.
driving VBIDs don't usually turn themselves around. By the way, just in
Yeah.
case anybody's confused there,
Yeah. I've never
when they
seen a
see a tank,
V-bed do
they
a
usually
3-point
drive
turn.
at the tank.
Yeah. Fucking my bad, dude. Never mind. You see me now. I'll just turn around. Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't even put a V-bed in a Skoda Octavia station wagon. That's not a V-bed car. Like it doesn't look like one. It didn't move like one. It just looked like a civilian car. Horace, me, I know you would
Mhm.
put it in a Skoda station wagon, but I don't know. But you're not normal. Let me see what is the chat saying. Yeah, 250 or so on the first day. Insane. It took quite a few days to completely restore order. Yeah, they had actually reached a lot of border towns and a lot of other major settlements when Hamas first
Oh
started.
yeah.
I don't think they expected it to be this big.
Um. Actually, that's sort of complicated, right?
Mm.
Uh. So I've been vaguely alluding slash occasionally screaming about this on Twitter. Uh. uh, uh Hamas and the Iranian government uh, wanted to conduct a massive raid to seize prisoners and then just go home, leave a bunch of martyrs behind, and in, to, I guess, accrue or gain political leverage against the Israeli government for mm, whatever the political party of Hamas is complaining about today, which could be any number of things. Wow, okay, my camera's doing it again. That's fine.
No worries.
Uh, wait for it. How
It's
did that
okay. You're
work?
getting
Okay.
bombed. It's fine. You're seeing the nukes go off. That's canon now. God, I need to. The lights are on in my room, by the way, and you can see just like the blue light of the screen. It's not great. My visuals aren't
That's not.
fantastic either. All right,
We just need.
hit
We
us up.
need.
What were you saying? What
Oh
were you
yeah.
saying?
Oh yeah. Iran and uh, Hamas were planning on having a snatch and grab with minimal civilian casualties, a lot of hostages to get to apply political leverage to Tel Aviv, right? For a number of reasons, releasing hostages, torpedoing normalization, etc., etc. But Hamas and the Iranians, they roped in a bunch of foreign shooters, right? Like not Hamas jihadis, but like actual jihadists, the guys who spent years fighting real wars in Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, uh, and they brought them in as string or ringers, right? Because Hamas's guys don't exactly have a lot of combat experience apart from I don't know, shooting off ATGMs every now and then.
Hmm.
Uh, so they wanted these hardened jihadist fighters. Well, okay, well that might get you demonetized on Twitch.
They wanted them
uh,
to go in and kerfuffle themselves on IDF positions while people are able to like create chaos and maybe get some hostages out.
yeah, sort of, right? They just wanted the jihadists, the hardened veteran fighters, to beef up Hamas's, I guess, grunts who are rather inexperienced for this plan or grand plan that they've spent years setting up, right? But the foreign fighters, they don't actually answer to Hamas in Iran, right? They answer to their bosses, most of whom are in Afghanistan.
Mm.
Uh, and their bosses had a different idea, right? Uh, as as people may or may not know, Iran and the Taliban are not exactly the biggest of friends right now. They never have been. I think one Russian analyst uh, described it as uh, sometimes we kill each other, sometimes we don't. That's just life, which
Oh.
is very Russian way of putting it, but it's just
Man.
not a very great relationship. But in this case, the Iranians thought that they had these jihadists under control, and they really didn't. And the jihadists wound up killing hundreds upon hundreds of civilians, or they ordered their guys, their Hamas grunts under them to kill civilians. And this was actually quite calculated. This is not like a spontaneous act of violence, because usually when you have spasms of violence, they don't just stop after a fixed period of time. They just go on and go on, and they don't have, I guess, this much inconsistency
Yeah, and I think
from
that
location
like
to location.
I mean Iran and Hezbollah seemed surprised, like when this happened.
Exactly.
They were like, yes, war, yes, let's fight Israel. Can you wait a few months, please? Give us time to prepare. We didn't actually expect this to be this quote unquote successful.
Exactly. And the idea here was pretty simple. Get Iran to throw itself and all of its proxies into supporting Hamas against the inevitable Israeli counter incursion. Oh no! The jihadis weren't answering to Israel. Actually, most of these guys don't actually care all that much about Israel, uh, but they they still stick to the uh, quintessentially anti-Semitic. We must erase Israel from the map, but instead of like preaching it like Iran does, oh wow, this is good. I'm gonna. Oh, I'm gonna change my lights really quickly to see if that helps, because I'm gonna give somebody a stroke.
Yeah, if, with your camera strobing out there. Yeah, Horace, I don't know. Oh, you're memeing. Okay. Horace, of course, Horace is memeing. He's a disinformation agent. We know this.
What is it? The shirt? Jesus
I
Christ.
don't know. I don't think it's the shirt. Doesn't make sense.
It walked away. I think it might be reflective. That's very stupid.
Oh man.
I'm gonna look something that's not reflective really quickly. Sorry.
No, don't worry.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm actually really interested in this ground up into what may happen here. Live UA map or Hoi 4 campaign? Live UA map. Nobody has been fucked up enough to make a proper Hoi 4 campaign for this. Which says a lot. I don't know. I think it's only a matter of time. Heck, there are Ukraine scenarios, so somebody's gonna make a scenario in Hoi 4 about this for sure. Another info is that the jihadis answer to some American think tank that wants to nuke Iran, nothing else. Oh my. Nope. Well, what Israel wants here, I think, is just like to be brutal enough to like drive all of them, like drive all the Palestinians into the Sinai, but that's not gonna happen. It's just not. I think scenario one. I think the most likely scenario is that like the IDF fumbles this, and like after a circus of casualties for a few months, they eventually like get out and say mission accomplished or whatever, or like change what the mission is. And the second most likely is like uh, a a ridiculous amount of people die. And the third option, in my opinion, is like the Rafah crossing opens and everyone flees. I just see it as the least likely. You there? Can you hear us?
I am here. Yes.
Yeah.
I think it was Discord. Okay, it was Discord.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was talking about the scenarios, and I was saying that like Israel doesn't really genuinely have a proper plan. I think their main plan here is like flatten the place enough, make it so unlivable that everyone flees into the Sinai. But I think that just not gonna happen. I think that like scenario one and the most likely one is that like they fumble around in Gaza for like a month or two, maybe even more, and they incur a lot of casualties, then change their objective, and then I don't know, kill a bunch of people, call it mission accomplished, get out, militarize the border even more, make things for Gaza even worse. And then the second most likely is they just keep doubling down, and this spirals out of control and a ton of people die, and maybe it's even a regional thing. I think that it's really third that uh, Egypt decides to open the borders and let the Palestinians flee into the Sinai. I think that's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm of a similar stance myself.
Yeah.
It doesn't. The Egyptian government, as other people pointed out, is broke. They don't control Sinai like at all. So we just need to put that in the back of our minds.
Hmm.
There's the refugee plan that the Israelis keep on touting is just not viable.
Nope. It's not viable, but they also won't like back down until like they thoroughly fuck their own faces, you know? Like they it's like now they're pumped. They want to go in, and they will go in, and it will be shit. It will feel like shit. Like all of this campaign, it will be just like them looking in front of them, to the left of them, and behind them, and above them, and everywhere, because there's gonna be fucking tunnels leading to like insane spots. The Hamas has been preparing for this for a long time. It's not going to be easy. Heck, like right now, there's fierce battles in the suburbs. Like we haven't even gotten to the city proper, and the city proper is going to be a fucking nightmare. Like I think this is
Mhm.
gonna be like worse than Mosul.
Substantially worse than Mosul.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to Hiroshima, yeah, uh, at best, uh, Hamas would just recreate itself wherever the largest Gazan population center, refugee population is. At worst, well, the EIS Sinai guys would take over Hamas's leadership structure. They'd butt themselves into the refugee camps, as they're doing in Syria, and they'd make essentially turbo ISIS. It,
Great. That's exactly what we need, right? Fucking turbo ISIS. Like every time. Every time. It's like it feels like I don't know. Israel is committing the US's mistakes like over like once over. It's like, you know what? Like we ate dirt and shit the first time. Let's try one more time. You know, maybe it will work out for us. You know, oh, it never works, but it could work for us. It's this fucking meme. This fucking meme is just like beaming right now into my mind because this is what it feels like, you know, man.
yeah, that's what it is like. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, I think that
I,
like the worst part here is just that like the Palestinian civilians are like the amount of suffering is just incomprehensible. I think that like it's very
yep.
hard. It's even very hard for Western audiences to realize it. But when they do, it becomes so much harder for them to view this as anything other than just a slaughter. Like people, genuinely, I've here in Europe, there's a lot of like turmoil about this. I don't know how bad it is in the U.S., but I mean, apart from the fact that we're gonna get terror attacks, which is just a guarantee. Um, the By the way, like this Brussels shooting, that was near my neighborhood. That was close to me. Fucking like the European left is basically like outraged, and rightly so, because fucking what's happening in Gaza is just extremely outrageous. Uh, and Even the U.S. is fucking angry. Like Biden may say like, "Oh yeah, sure, total support," but I think that's mostly like inertia. I think that it's like they are looking at this and say, "Holy shit, what a like optical nightmare!" Like the
Yep.
it's just burning goodwill with young voters, burning goodwill with like a lot of progressives that support the Biden administration. Like Arab Americans just forget about them. Uh, like it's it's just bad. It's bad for
Oh,
everybody.
to answer Randolph's question, uh, well, have you ever heard of the Battle of Grozny?
Mm.
Right, 1 and 2, where the Russians committed tens of thousands of soldiers to fighting. I think the Chechen forces topped out at 5,000 guys. The first time the Russians just lost. Uh, when even a well-trained mechanized assault force trying to take a city is going to take massive losses. Uh, so far, from what we've seen, the IDF is not exactly well trained, at least not their normal, regular personnel.
No, and they're
They are
getting
making.
reservists as well. You know,
Yep.
so they're growing their size to deal with all these other threats as well. So it's gonna be real messy. And of course, it's not just that. Is that it's the fact that like there's just so many tunnels in Gaza. There's ATGMs. There's a lot of things. It keeps getting worse, James.
I,
James, what are
I
you
don't.
doing,
I,
man? What's happening, man?
I'm trying. It's having a stroke. This only happens on Discord. I don't get it. It doesn't happen on Zoom.
Man,
Uh,
holy
the
shit.
faithful. Uh, Uh, wow, that looks worse. Uh, at least my social credit score is going up.
Yeah, what isn't it like once you go white, your credit get right? I've heard that
You,
somewhere.
you, you're pretty good at or something.
That's- Holy shit. Yeah.
Ah,
No, in Greece we don't have credit scores. It's fine.
oh, you don't.
If you
You,
dress well enough, you can get a loan. It's good. I actually
you,
we don't have money. It's fine. We don't have loans. We don't have shit. We have credit scores. Like redundant at this point.
oh no. Oh,
Yeah. No, it's gonna be bad, and I think we're gonna get a lot of footage out of it, despite what Israel wishes. Casualties are gonna be more evident. Tanks are gonna burn. People are gonna burn. Um, Female IDF soldiers are gonna burn, and that's gonna also make some waves. Um,
yep.
like
Oh yeah.
actually, I do have a little bit of a personal connection here. So like, I went to an international school, and I had some friends there that were from Israel. My One of my sister's friends, um, her younger sister, decided to go on a path of finding herself by returning to Israel and joining the IDF. She was in the UK. She could have just stayed there, but she decided at 19 to go join the IDF, to, I don't know, fulfill some patriotic duty. And now she's 21, um, and she has to probably enter Gaza because she went in the infantry. Yeah, I don't think the family is horrified right now. They begged her.
The,
They begged her not to go, you know? And now
the,
she's horrified. Her family is horrified. It's like, well, we didn't want this. The draft is already really unpopular in Israel. Like, it's gonna be bad. And like, I'm really hoping that like she doesn't get killed, cause like of like we keep like we forget sometimes that these are like actual real people, like losing their families, losing their loved ones. Like the Palestinians in Gaza, like, we see journalists going by saying, "Yeah, I just lost my three children. I just lost my whole family." Things like this, and like when you have a personal connection, and immediately like, oh, it's even more real now. It's less distant. No, it's really rough. I really don't. My hope for a good resolution to this clusterfuck is not great. The best that I hope for is that like Israel quits, because I don't think they have an easy oh, they'll just all leave. No, it's just not gonna happen. They're gonna have to literally butcher their way through, and as much butchery that already has been done, there can be so much more. There can be an incomprehensible amount. So I think that not even like the U.S. would be all chill about. I don't think anybody would be chill about that. I don't think the Arab world would be chill about that. I don't think Europe, I think, is already not vibing with this situation, mainly because right now the left and the far right are much like the far right in Europe was already like not a big fan of Israel for obvious reasons. The European left has always been much more left than the US like has been more broadly. So in general, like Israel isn't that popular, and having to really completely like butcher all of Gaza, I don't know about that. Yeah, but Evil City, I don't think Germany counts in this. Germany will never, ever, ever, ever genuinely like criticize Israel again for obvious reasons. It's like okay, maybe Germany should will sit this one out. I think that like Israel is basically bulletproof to Germany criticizing it. Like, like, what will they say? It's, oh, this is like the Holocaust. Like, what will they say? I can't, like,
Well,
Germany's like powerless here to really criticize Israel, but the rest of the Europeans, they won't struggle that much. Any left-wing government will. I mean, hell, the Spanish have said that like they want to drag Netanyahu to the Hague, and well, I'd love to see that. But I would also like say that yes, Spain agreed. I would really like to see Netanyahu fucking on there. Heck, maybe even the Israelis will send him there. Who knows? Fucking, it's so unpredictable what's gonna happen. Oh, I like Evil City says, well, you see, we're something of an expert in genocide, so we know one when we see one. Yes, Germany could say that. It's like the thing where somebody said that, like the U.S. like, I don't know, it was some like American soldier dude who said, "Oh, the U.S. it would be too hypocritical for the U.S. to tell Israel to be restrained." In this situation because of what we did after 9/11. It's like I said, well, this is like exactly why the US is in a good position to tell Israel, hey, maybe don't repeat our fuck ups on like a scale that you can't afford, because America is America. America is like really safe. Israel is not. It's not in the. It can't make America's mistakes and get America's consequences. America's consequences has been like, oh, I don't know, maybe like a lot of money, but America has infinite money, so that doesn't matter, and a few thousand casualties, and I don't know, some terrible songs, like, but
yeah.
and a lot of people dead in the Middle East, but not that. That's not many casualties for America. But Israel could genuinely like destroy itself, the way it's acting now, and I don't want to see any civilian bloodshed. I don't care if it's like self-inflicted. I don't care if it's like, I don't care whatever leadership of a country like commits the mistakes to get like half their population killed. I don't care. It's like, oh well, fucking they asked for. I don't work in those terms. I'm like, and any all of this is fucking like tragic. Oh god, I don't know. I don't know what to think. What do you think they'll do? Like in terms of like the ground assault. Do you think like they'll probably like cut off the whole like of Gaza City and just like move like from all sides towards the center?
I was on a stream for the fifth gen podcast. I think mentioned that they probably try to actually they try to do exactly this.
Mm.
They cut Gaza in half down the Al Saladin Road, and then they try and squeeze it and go block by block, house by house, trying to clear out whatever Hamas fighters they can find, looking for tunnels all the while. And that shit's probably not going to work. I'm sorry.
No.
Sorry to put it bluntly.
It's gonna move so slow if they try to do this, and it will be like progress will be very incremental, and then they're gonna lose progress once they figured out, oh, we missed some exit on a tunnel, and now the whole tunnel system is back full again. Like it's not gonna. They also like, some people were floating the idea that they're gonna pour gas or water into the fucking tunnels. Like, Jesus Christ, stop! Like, are you out of your minds? Just like, please, please.
Honestly, I could see BB asking if they could do that, and uh, not the IDF shooting, the US shooting it down, saying that's a batshit insane idea.
Yeah,
Because
like,
BB, he's a character.
no, Jesus. Oh, somebody's asking, where are you two streamers from? James isn't a streamer, but he's American, and I'm Greek. What's Bankova? What is Bankova? Who's saying in a bunker under Bankova? I'm not. I'm not 100% sure. Actually, I'm not up on my geography. Um,
that's a street in Kiev.
Oh, I see. Man, I think
Oh,
this time you'll be more able to actually pronounce things. If you're talking about places in the Gaza Strip, you it may be a bit difficult, but it's not Ukraine difficult.
yep, yep. At least
Yeah,
it's not Polish or Lithuanian difficult.
yeah. You won't have to say the word przemysł at all. In fact, like
Shimmy. Ah.
that's an easy. Like heck, like fucking. I know your pain. I had a lot of American classmates, and they had some struggles.
I think I can do Greek. That's great, right?
Yeah,
It's a
uh,
fun Greek,
with
Spanish, French.
well, I don't know, man. It's
Yeah.
just
Oh no, you're gonna test me.
what happened?
What? Oh, uh, never mind. It's fine.
Oh,
Uh, ooh. Uh, oh shit. The foreign fighters. Right. I think I was saying something and then I forgot. Oh, then when to change my shirt. That wasn't actually the shirt. Uh, the foreign fighters. They're not like the standard Hamas guys that you saw in like the 2010s, right? Even Hamas's guys have gotten a few hundred to a few thousand of them have gotten training in Iran, but the foreign fighters are hardened veterans, right? They live for this shit. They kicked the US's ass. Let me put it that way. So, and that was against well trained, highly experienced American formations. Yep,
mm.
Haqqani Network style boys. Exactly. Actually, some of them are literally from the Haqqani Network.
How many would you say there are in inside? Like, how many could they've moved in? Like, are we talking like 500, 1,000, or is that too
Uh,
many?
the Taliban are apparently whispering somewhere to the effect of 700
Okay,
just
yeah,
of their
I
fighters.
guess so. Cause like a lot more than that just doesn't make much sense. It would be a little
Mhm.
too visible. Like it would be
Yeah,
too difficult to even pull off. But yeah, even that
and
small amount is actually quite significant. Those guys are prepared to die. Like it's not a question as to what they may be doing or maybe wishing to do. It's gonna be brutal. Oh, Danaus, well, he's Greek as well. He's like, ooh, I didn't recognize your accent. Yeah. No, the thing is, you couldn't recognize my accent because I've lived in the UK for 6 years and I went to an American international school. So my accent is really nondescript. It's not very Greek. Um, but yes, I am Athenian, and my family is from Crete. So there you go. My Greek is the, you don't want me to start speaking Greek now. The audience will be significantly cut down, but I can in fact speak Greek. Yes, it is something I can do as a Greek person. In fact, yes. Cares for us. Γαμώ την Παναγία σου. There you go. I said fuck your Saint Mary. Yeah, we have very yeah. Fuck your Saint Mary. Σκατά στον τάφο σου is one of my favorites. Is like shit on your grave. I Greek curses are fantastic. Resounding applause. Yes. Yeah, it's
wait, oh no, freshman
Horace is gone.
sleep tight.
Oh,
He's doing his Islamic sleep rituals.
oh yeah. He probably
It's like
Horace is in Kiev.
in Ukraine.
Yeah,
Thank you.
he's got to deal with bombings. He's
Russia.
gotten so used to it. He's like, "Oh shit, the fucking alarm woke me up again." I mean, they're on a concerted effort to make Horesme lose his sleep. It it is very very painful. I don't know. Maybe they're like holding back missiles to go on another like strategic missile campaign this winter. But I don't know. I don't know if it'll cause any major effects. I don't think the electricity network has really recovered from last year. But at the same time, I don't know if like the plan to freeze out the Ukrainians is gonna genuinely succeed ever in under any circumstances. It's just not.
It's, yeah, it's a little silly to be honest. Like
Mm.
trying to freeze out not Russians, but trying to freeze out Ukrainians or trying to freeze out Russians. It's just not.
Yeah, it's like okay, you're causing misery for no reason, but you're not gonna win the war that way. Horace, me, yes, I remember you were looking for ways to create like create heat for yourself without fire, which was interesting without fire or electricity. We were talking about maybe if you could install a gas stove or a wood
Uh,
stove, but that shit's difficult. You can choke
Pro
yourself.
tip: uh, one way to increase body temperature is by a certain strenuous physical activity that you do by yourself.
Heck yeah, Horace
That
is
is
gonna get ripped. He's gonna get shredded.
just from one arm.
Oh god.
But
Yeah, Danas is saying, so based on that map of IDF progress, what are we seeing? What are they advancing house by house, clearing the field from Hamas? No, no, no. What you're seeing is very preliminary. What you're seeing, let me zoom out and bring out the crayons. What you're seeing is that Israel is basically punching in to cut off the strip from the south. So cut off Gaza City from the south. They're pushing the suburbs so that they are able to approach the city basically. So they're gonna their plan is gonna be to kind of isolate the city and then push in block by block after. We haven't seen the block by block fighting yet. We don't know exactly how that will go down or what their plan will be then. But right now the plan is for so we'll start seeing real offensives into the city when the map looks something like this. Give me a moment. Let me. So when it's looking like, let me
yep,
increase the size. So yeah, when it's like when they've taken these suburbs here, they've blocked off the rest of the strip. They're probably gonna push along the coast as well. Do something like
they're
this.
probably not going. They might do amphibious raids, but they're probably not going to do any amphibious landings.
Yeah,
Uh,
and then they're
uh,
gonna be trying to push in from different directions. Couldn't tell you exactly which directions will be or what they'll choose to do, but it will look something like this when the real offensive into Gaza itself will start. Right now we're seeing the I don't know, hors d'oeuvre you call it before the main
pro-
course.
yeah, you could say. I think the technical term might be preliminary shaping operations.
Yep, shaping operations. Sure, the appetizer. Yes, Escol, Exol. That's exactly what I meant. Uh, but yeah, hors d'oeuvre as well is the same word. Basically, appetizer. How will they handle the tunnels? It's a mystery. We don't know. We don't know what they're gonna do. We don't. We have no
Uh,
fucking clue.
so far, they've mostly just been pushing special operations guys through the tunnels, and because they're SF, they've been having a fairly easy time of it, right? But the Israeli special forces aren't actually all that large, so they're going to get tired. They're going to take casualties,
It's not a scalable
and once
solution.
that yeah, it's not going to work for the entire city.
It's too many tunnels, too few special forces guy, and too valuable special forces guys. Eventually, they may have to push regular infantry in there, and it'll be a fucking slaughter.
Yep.
They don't even have the Storm Z expendables, like the Russians do. It's like it's
Mhm.
like Igor, you're just out of prison. Let me tell you about this amazing job opportunity. You're gonna be storming Ukrainian trenches. Your life no longer matters. It's like congratulations, you made it out of prison and into a genuinely worse situation than Russian prison. Congrats. Yeah, no, they don't have that. The Israelis can't afford the same amount of casualties. So it's genuinely a
Uh,
mystery to me what their plan is. I don't know if there is a plan. I think it's just kind of winging it.
wing it. Yeah.
How
Uh,
fucking how do you wing
is it possible?
a mess like this?
Yeah, don't, at least not well.
Yeah.
Uh, the tunnels sort of definitely extend past the IDF's cordon. You, you can't you. It's like trying to find. You guys know the Nerds candy, like the little.
That sounds
Okay,
absurd. What is that? What is it? Is it one of those American candies that has 11 billion calories per bite?
and like 10 pounds of sugar.
Yeah. It's like turbo diabetes. What is it?
Yep. It's.
It's
I'll
pure
pull up
sugar.
this. Put a link in the chat for the international audience. Uh,
Yeah, I don't even know what you're
it's
talking
like
about.
these. It's like when you're eating these in a messy fashion.
Oh, my goodness.
Uh, so you're never going to be able to find whichever ones you spilled. They taste delicious, though. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I guess an analogy I would make, I guess, is like, um, I don't know. Have you seen the kind of things that like people make bracelets out of? All these little like in Greece we call them hadres, but they're basically like little rocks or ornaments, and they come in these big boxes, like really big, very tiny, and you spill them on the floor, and then you like little beads. Like imagine like a big ball of beads. You spill it on the floor. You're gonna be finding beads for years
Yep.
afterwards. You may get a lot of them in your first go around, but it's
But you're never gonna get them.
you're gonna eat the donkey and get stuck on the tail. It's it's like it's just gonna get progressively harder because the ones that aren't gonna be like easy to get are just gonna be way too hard to get. I don't know. This is just an impression I have. I'm not a tunnel expert. I just know that in general militaries don't like tunnels.
Another thing that we're probably neglecting to mention, just globally, is that Hamas is still going to probably get outside reinforcements and supplies. I this is
Yeah, I mean I don't know exactly how they do it, but um they probably will get some support.
actually the Taliban themselves are pushing to send thousands of fighters to back Hamas just openly.
Mm. That's interesting. I think that they like I guess then the biggest problem would probably be like Iran and Hezbollah like really preparing to do something. If the Israelis really like start fumbling super hard inside the strip and committing more and more resources, that might embolden them to do something. But I don't know exactly how that would take place. It's hard to visualize specifically because the northern border isn't exactly like Swiss cheese. It's not. It
Hmm.
does have some
They're just gonna
fortifications. It has good hills. It's not easy territory to just push in. They may do something similar to what Hamas did, though.
oh Hamas is going to get reinforcements through Rafah, right?
Mm.
Because the tunnels extend for kilometers past the Israeli-Egyptian border, and the Egyptian government has zero control over them.
I see. I see. Okay. Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. There's some fucking Sinai jihadists are gonna move in, and then you can get other like dudes to the Sinai from, well, I don't know, pretty much everywhere.
Yeah,
So then like Sinai
yeah.
is like free parking. You can get there. So yeah, no, it's an interesting conundrum. I don't know. Um, it's incredible how most viewers show up like 2 hours after I've started. You fuckers. You have no respect for me or the amount I need to sleep every day. Uh,
I'm sorry, I was a bit late sharing it.
but let me, man. I've been fucking going to the gym now, and all I'm doing is eating and sleeping. Like I have no time for anything else.
uh, bulk.
Yes, yes, I
Uh,
am bulking.
okay.
It's working. It's working, man. I'm gonna be ripped. I'm gonna post pictures. It's happening.
Oh, what's the B term related to the gym? I was gonna say bulk.
Cut.
Fuck.
What were you thinking about? What term? A gym
I don't
term?
know. I was trying to get like four B's. Your bulk, something something bed.
Oh, I don't know. I've never heard it. How many times a week? Three. 3 times a week. I don't want to burn out. Uh, I already got a little bit injured uh, on Monday, so I can't quite turn all the way to the right now. My neck got a little hurt, so I don't wanna. I don't wanna do any major damage. Turning into a real Athenian warrior. Hey, yeah, yeah. Anyway, it was a pleasure. Yeah, squats. It was squats. I fucked myself with squats. It was a real pleasure, everybody. I think we should tie a little bow on this because it's 11 o'clock here, and I would like to go off and do some other things now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Uh,
man, it was a
great.
pleasure having you on, as always. And I guess we're probably gonna be talking about Gaza again soon. I think, especially when
Yep.
this gets real bad, because it's
Oh
really
god.
bad now and it's gonna get worse.
But
Καληνύχτα,
wait, there's
Thanos.
more.
But wait, yeah, it's like this is the
Kalinista.
worst day ever. No, this is the worst day yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, geez.
Um, everybody, it was a pleasure having you on, and we're going to raid. James, plug yourself and throw your stuff in the chat.
Oh
And
yes.
yeah.
Uh, I'm going to link it by showing. I don't know. Uh, oh yeah, this is funny. Well, nerd funny, not necessarily funny, funny.
What is it?
And
What did you send me? Did you send me something? No, did you
well,
put it in the chat?
oh yeah, I put it in the yeah,
Ah,
public chat.
yes,
That one.
yes, yes. Oh, was this the? What is this? Is
Yeah, the
this?
grenade from the outclassing brigades.
Oh, what was it? That like IDF like tank circle with the infantry in the middle?
Oh no, that the worst part is this is a separate circle. There's more
What the?
than one group doing this. What the
They're
fuck?
going in, getting themselves encircled but via tunnel. Like, come on, fucking. You like they didn't check the bushes, I guess. Like, what was going on? Like, they moved past some
This is
shit.
this was they were grouped up together, and Hamas was just like, "What the fuck are you doing?" They just flew a UAV over and dropped a grenade on them.
Yeah. No, it's ridiculous. Like, did you say this? Like, when Hamas figures out the advanced technology of mortar, they're all done. Is that
Oh, and somebody else did. Now
oh,
replying on my post. Yeah.
probably the 21st AAR? I think the arm show guy.
Uh, maybe.
Did he say it? I don't know. Someone said it, and I found it fucking hilarious. It is just like, yeah, no, everyone is gonna be scratching their heads for a little bit. It's like, hey, this is the vaunted IDF. Is everybody off their kilter? It was you. Ah, okay, can't
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
Can't see. Oh my god. Oh no, yeah, Skilos.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, 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 yeah. All right, man. Yes, I love this shit. Yes, yes, yes. I remember. Fantastic. Anyway, it was a pleasure, James, and we'll talk again, of course.
Yep.
Right.
Catch you soon.
See you later. Bye bye.
Sleep tight.
Yep, yep. You too. I don't know. Maybe it's daytime over there. Okay, everybody. We're going on a raid. Let me check. Let me check Twitch. We got 2 hours. Stream back. Hey, maybe if I find more time, I'll stream again in the weekend. This shit seems to be moving quickly. Oh, Mr. Burns. Mr. Dylan Burns is online. Maybe I'll raid him. What is this? That's an ad. Okay, I'll be raiding Dylan Burns TV. I want you all on the ball. Nobody leaves. All right. Uh, it's slash raid, right? Slash. Fucking hell. Raid. Dylan Burns TV. Boop. Right, hop on. Hop on. Hop on. Do, 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 do. You're all gonna have a fantastic time over at Dylan's. Yeah, let's go. Right, good night, everybody.